There's an agenda right now where they're trying to make men not masculine, because then the woman will want to dominate them. And this all goes back to the Bible. Eve, what does she do in the garden? I love the principle. She tried to dominate her husband in the sense of, I know best, right? Because he wasn't standing up to his role. He's supposed to tell her, this is not what we're doing. I got clear instructions from God. That's leadership. And he wasn't doing so she made the decisions for both of them, and it led them to sin. And it said that that women will always be cursed with wanting to have dominion over a man. And I think today's generation, since we were talking a little bit about religion, I think that we are struggling with the curse of Eve. It's so funny. You know how people say, if I was Eve, I would have never ate that apple. We're eating it every day. We're trying to have dominion, so much power over men. I think the agenda is to make men soft and weak so that women have to step up and now be masculine.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think about that? Now, we did a lot of research on this in our Wednesday night call. And we found out some stuff, but I just want to hear your initial reactions first. What do y'all think?
Why you go to
Ryan's ducking.
No. I agree with her, but...
Oh. You agree? Why?
I'm gonna let somebody else go. I need to ruminate on my thoughts.
I'm a little torn by where I want to go with this, because it's interesting that we are, we're right now in a battle to elect the first female president, and I watch her husband, Kamala Harris's husband, and how his demeanor is, and he's like, they been making a lot of jokes about him putting up the Christmas tree at Christmas time, and decorating the Easter baskets and things like that. Yeah. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, man, it's interesting, the thought process of that being completely flipped, And I don't know. I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now. I mean, we just had a bunch of Secret Service agents that, almost got Donald Trump killed. I don't know. I'm just in a weird place right now where it just seems like I'm okay with the feminine energy.
What do you mean you say that? What do you mean when you say you're okay with the feminine energy?
I mean, I'm okay. I heard Candace Owens say that women don't need to be in certain positions. Women don't need to be Secret Service agents. They don't need to be in law enforcement. They don't need to be president, pretty much. And I'm just like, you know what? I just say let God use whoever he wants to use. I feel like the dynamics have shifted a lot from the traditional 60s family to where we are today.
We need to have more men outings in Trackstarz.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this first. Never to minimize the role of a woman. The first person that Jesus spread the message with was a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
I was raised by a black woman. I believe women are very powerful and influential in our culture, and they should be. You know what I'm saying? But according to what she was saying in Scripture, that's really how I was taught. The same way we study that Scripture and break it down to and fro, and how it was looked upon was Eve being in the position to where the husband didn't step up, took matters into her own hands. So that was her natural instinct in that situation, being that Adam didn't say anything. So here now, it's the part of the curse is the woman's going to want to assert authority over the man, but she's going to have to submit to her husband. It's like it's like a fleshly desire, I think, or like an innate desire to want to be in control, feeling like you're smart, you're intelligent, you know how to make these certain moves, which you are smart, which you are intelligent. But I think because of what she did, as opposed to it being a thing where maybe even being a joint thing, or the woman had a kind of a more of a say-so, it's like when you had a say-so, you chose to sin. So now we're going to choose to make you submit to the husband. But this the key though, not just any husband. This has to be a man who's submitted to God. This has to be a man that you can trust and confide in and understands that he's hearing the voice of God. Because if you're not a man who's submitted to God, the woman really has no reason to submit to you.
We got to have something to submit to.
Yeah. So here's the question that I asked. So in Genesis, is Adam there just chilling while Eve is presented?
It says he's
That's
there
what I was
just
about to get
chilling.
into.
I didn't
He's there chilling. Yeah.
Wow.
So here's the confusion. This is what we got to get straight, because she was basing her opinion off of one translation of the Bible, and we kind of dug into the other ones. So this is the curse that was given to Eve, right? Cursed the serpent, cursed Eve, cursed Adam, right? Well, he said to Eve, he said, to the woman, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desires shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. Now, some translations say your desire will be to conquer your husband, but he will rule over you. So we went back and we looked at the Greek and we looked at all the, the core words, right? And we tried to break it down. And it appears, I'm trying to remember where we came to. It appears that the people, there's the different translations are different levels of translation. There's a word by word translations. There's phrase by phrase translations. There's like idea by idea. Like the Message Bible is like an idea by idea, where they take the whole verse and they kind of translate it into how you would say it today. You know what I mean, versus it being each word is translated. But even when you translate word for word, you don't know what it meant in the original Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, right? So that word in the original language may mean a lot of things where our English word just means one thing. So you don't really get the full picture of it, right? Right. So we went back and we looked at, what does the original word mean? And it appears it means more like what this is. Your desire will be for your husband. Like you will desire him, but in response, you will be ruled over. That's what it appears to mean originally. But in some translations, they take it to mean your desire will be to control your husband. And I don't know why they decided to add that. And whenever you look at this, there's notes that say, or it could mean this, or it could mean that.
Real quick, because when you said it like that, you said your desire will be for your husband, but he will rule over you. It almost, when you think about it like that, that would be saying pretty much you love your husband, but he don't love you. It's almost like how that comes across. So I think the husband, he tells us, love your wife like Christ loved the church. So we know we're going to love our wives, and they're going to love us and respect us. So that's why I think I can understand that one definitely. I lean more toward the aspect of the woman wanted to assert authority over the man, because you look at what's going on now in our culture, it's wayward as the mud. You got Beyonce, who's the main proponent of we don't need men, who run the world, girls, and all this kind of stuff. The music that's being put out about men, either we all gangsters or we gay. Either way it go, we dying. That we're not here. Either way it go, we dying. Either way it go, we dying. You know what I'm saying? We're not thriving either way. Whether you gay or you in prison, you out of there. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, so for the wholesome man of God, you know what I'm saying? For the wholesome man of God, who's supposed to be the pillar in the household, who's supposed to be the leader, spiritual leader of the household, who's supposed to be able to be that solid male foundation for your children and things of that nature, it's like they're trying to eliminate that. So I think when I look at it this way, I'm looking at it like, okay, she wants to be the head of the situation, because last time Adam didn't step up and do what he had to do. It's a lot of men who are not stepping up doing what they have to do. So naturally a woman feels like it's fight or flight. If my family's going to survive, if I'm going to thrive, I have to step up and take this head role. I hear women say it all the time. I was in a situation where I felt like I had to be the head, and that shouldn't be the case. So what makes her feel that way, though? Either the guy's not stepping up, or it's also this desire she has naturally on the inside to want to be the head. But what's going to make a woman of God respect you? If you come with just you, she gonna get tired of you. I don't care how good you look, how good you cook, whatever you can do in the bedroom, eventually that's gonna get old. The only thing she's gonna respect continuously is a man who's submitted to God. And I think that's where that comes in. That's why it sound real like rigid at first, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna want to dominate the man, but he got control. It's not as rigid as it comes across. Is if this man is truly submitted to God, then you should be submitted.
But here's a question.
But you see how, depending on how you see that verse, you can have totally different interpretation of it.
Yeah, but I think the question goes, but what if the man is submitted and she still don't want to smash?
She got to check us.
Then she not submitted to God.
Yeah.
She got to be submitted to God. He submitted to God, and y'all submit to each other, because it does say that later in Scripture.
Yeah.
Exactly. In his proper order. So, like, it's funny because me and my sisters just had a Bible study talking about this, and I just, like you said, okay, let me get my thoughts all together. Like you, it's all over the place.
Girl.
Like, I remember, like, talking to God before, and he just was saying, like, there's not enough of us that are truly seeking out my revealed word for them and for their lives. So, like, in this situation, God told Adam, don't eat the fruit. So, like, we easily can be like, oh, yeah, well, she dominated him. Adam had a choice. You were. It said you were next to her. She passed you the fruit. She didn't force you. So like, even though she's having this conversation, well, really, y'all are being beguiled. We like to emphasize that Eve is the one being beguiled. Y'all are being beguiled because you had a direct understanding with God of what you were supposed to do. So this is really your passivity, I guess, Adam, because literally, because if he was standing on what God said, you standing on business, you would have been like, look, slap that fruit out her hand.
I don't care what
or
you
don't
did.
eat it.
Or God said we were not supposed to do this because like you were saying, he told Adam that before Eve was even in the picture.
Right.
So the word was for Adam, and then if your husband is leading or whoever you about to marry, he has the word.
What's crazy is his initial reaction was, "You gave me this woman."
The woman you gave me, Lord. The woman you gave me.
The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me the tree and I ate. It's like he blamed her immediately.
But God said Eve.
That's funny.
Eve was deceived, but Adam sinned. That's what Scripture says too.
Good.
So
Man did fall.
because you was the leader.
Yeah.
But I think the thing too is that even like for years hearing that, I always thought like she ate and came to him and gave it to him, but I didn't know that he was there chilling.
They was dragging us. They was dragging
She passed
us.
it over. Here, boo.
Oh, you thought he was in the cut?
No, I thought he was like working.
I thought that too.
I thought he was like doing something. He came up and she was like, "Here, eat this." I didn't know that he was like just watching the snake just talk to his wife.
Yeah.
You there.
That's crazy.
Are you gonna sit there and let somebody finesse your wife?
No.
That, or even if he did walk up at some part of the conversation,
Yeah,
you
maybe he
already
wasn't there the whole time. Yeah.
exactly, you already aware of what's going on
You
and what
knew
God
what God told you.
Yeah, it says she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. So he was with her.
Wow.
I don't know if he was like, listen to his iPod or something.
So what's okay? So let's ask the gentleman here. So do you feel like Adam is an alpha male or a beta male?
Sucker.
Dang, what?
Stop calling Adam a sucker.
Adam was a sucker, man. Look, this is why I say you're a sucker. If I'm sitting here and I'm with my woman, I see somebody crafty coming along. I see a snake walking up to my wife talking and telling her some things against what God told us to do, and I'm just sitting there. First of all, if my wife talking to somebody like that and we in close proximity, I'm finna see what's going on. Like, it should be nothing that you telling her that you can't tell me. And that's the sign of a predator. Like, if you with your wife somewhere and somebody trying to convince you to do something and they come talk to your family to do something, they come talk to your wife before they come talk to you as the head of the household, you're not gonna feel offended by that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. But he sat back and let it happen and didn't say nothing. Then he went and ate the apple.
Well, let's give him some bail and say he didn't hear the conversation.
Well, I'm trying to put
If he
myself
next to
in the
us-
situation.
we don't know. We don't know how far. Maybe he was like with is like, you with over there. I can see you.
I'm trying to put myself in the situation of Adam where there's no competition, so your mind might not be going there, right?
Competition.
Like when I say competition, I mean like there's no reason for you to be,
And
All
on
he
the
knew was
offense.
good. All he knew
On
was
the defense,
good.
the defense.
I mean, it's
right?
not another dude that told her it was a.
No.
it was a
It's
snake.
just like, I mean, he could be over there like
talking.
he could have been over there whittling sticks. Like it's probably pretty boring, just being in the Garden of Eden.
They was not bored. They
I
was
doubt
in
it.
paradise with
You in the
God.
presence of God in
I
the
don't-
Garden of Eden?
I don't
You
know
get
if-
bored, bro.
I'm saying like he's probably off like doing something like some kind of weird activity,
Let me ask you a
like you know
question,
what I'm saying,
Ron.
like
I come to you, I'm like, hey, let's say I sell timeshares out of all things or whatever, and I see you and your wife at the store. Your wife is right here. You right here doing whatever, might be buying a pair of shoes, whatever. If I walk up to your wife, are you going to be aware that I'm talking to your wife?
say that again.
Oh, God.
Your wife is right here.
Yeah.
You're right there. Say you're watering the plant, doing whatever you're doing.
Naming animals.
Yeah.
If a random being, a person walks up to your wife and start talking to him, your sense is gonna be like, somebody talk. You gonna know somebody.
First of all, you're gonna be
But
like,
don't you trust?
what I
But
name
don't you
you?
trust your wife? Don't you trust your wife?
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam trusted Eve. I feel like
You trust your wife, but at the same time though, when I see something suspect, like a snake talking to my wife, or I see a dude who looks slick, like he a hustler, like he might try to finesse my wife, I'm at least ease a little bit closer, like,
Wait.
I'm point at you, like.
But I get the concept of what Ryan is saying. If we're living in an atmosphere where sin is not present,
Yeah, you've never seen sin
so you
before.
don't have
would
the
never-
alert in your mind. Oh, let me go be a protector,
Yeah.
because sin is not present. There's no evil. There's no present
that's
danger.
good.
The
You don't
snake is
even
on
know
the
what
ground.
evil is.
But
snake is
that's
on the
good.
ground.
Adam wasn't a protector to anything. He was just a guardian of the atmosphere that he was around. So he may have not known how to be a protective of his wife. If you get what I'm saying.
If
Like
God
he was
told
just
you,
like
don't eat of this tree,
That should be number one. You shouldn't even.
But wait,
don't even go near that tree. Don't even.
But just like the lady said in the video, we say we wouldn't be Eve.
Yeah, you don't know what you would have done.
You say you've been Adam.
Yeah, I've been Adam.
You ain't Adam today, but you've been Adam. Adam messed up one time and he was booted.
And it's the same though. That's what I'm saying. And he was.
We
He got
get to mess up a
penalized.
bunch of
God didn't
times.
say, "Oh, Adam, you just messed up one time. Let me let you stay in the garden." That one time ruined it for everybody. So
here's
there was no
this
law.
is the right tree they ate from, because if they would have ate from the other tree, it would have been immortal. Like nobody would have died.
Why are we by this tree?
Yeah.
If this is the tree he said don't eat from, and I got a whole
Set up a
orchard,
fence around that
I got a
joint.
whole orchard full of trees. I'm naming animals. I'm chilling. Why am I even by this tree?
But I do think that no matter whether it was Adam or James or Sean or Chris or Ryan, we would have done it.
We would have did
This was all part of the plan. Like this was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
We would have did it.
But I will say let's give him bail and say he didn't hear the conversation. When she brings the apple to him, the one that God said, "This is the only thing you got to worry about. The only thing I asked you to do."
Now, does he know that's from that tree?
He did.
Where'd that come from?
He did.
Yeah.
It's clear in the Bible that he did.
He knew where
It was a different color.
Why would you then? His excuse is, dude, she naked. Like, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean?
Y'all always been naked.
They didn't know what naked was until they were
She's
whatever.
beautiful. This is
She's
my
beautiful.
my beautiful
She's
wife,
beautiful.
who's flesh in my flesh, bone in my bone.
Y'all
Who wants the best for me? Why?
But that's the attitude he had. It's like, look what you
I'm gonna need y'all to be quicker than this, man. I'm gonna need y'all to be stronger than this.
Yeah.
The Lord said,
We
He
weak, man.
decreed.
And that's my point. The Lord said, "Don't eat this mud. I don't care what you look like."
That's the only thing you gotta do.
So did she?
This is hard.
I'm trying to figure out. Remember, did she say?
yeah.
It's 100 trees, Ryan.
Does he know that it comes from that tree?
He
Like
did.
Yes.
It's clear that he knew.
They hid after.
God, why would God get mad at him if he didn't
Yeah,
know?
why would God punish
And
you
he said,
and
Adam,
her? Why would he
where
punish
are
both
you?
of
I
them?
told you not to do this.
I see this as being like the regular tree had red apples and this one had green
No,
apples.
are you serious? You don't think Adam knew that?
No,
he was,
no. I'm saying that's how you knew the difference.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
It wasn't
Maybe
even
it was
an
We
apple.
don't even know if it was an
It
apple.
wasn't even an apple.
We call it an apple.
It was a
didn't
fruit.
say it was apple.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
just a fruit.
So in my mind, it's like,
pear,
yeah, in my mind, it's like
strawberry,
you knew about it, but
a cherry.
you got to also think too, like that's the first time that even the will to sin was tested. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to put yourself in that position
So he was
to
an
say,
innovator.
is this our first time being given something outside of God's hand? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, just slide. Yeah, a little bit this way.
I was lost in this story. I really was. So
Slide
I
that
think Adam
Yeah.
was in a territory that he's never been in before.
Yeah.
And I think that's why everybody's kind of saying, like, I've never been in a pressure where I have to, maybe my wife gave me food all the time and was like, here, eat this, and I just ate
And
it.
he
You know,
just eating.
and I'm just
No.
not.
Yeah.
con-
It's
babe,
not
try
that.
this. Try this.
There's
on the stove.
no way to look at it other than he knew what he was doing. He blamed her for it, and God punished
That's
him.
the
There's
cowardly
no
move.
other way
You gonna
out.
blame the woman.
Let me ask you
we
this.
done. Then
What
she
was
went and
that?
had kids with him after that. We're done, sir.
What is the
We're finished.
And look what
You
the
gonna
kids were
embarrass
like.
me in
what
front
did
of God?
the
Look what the kids did.
It's a reality show.
James, what did the King James version say? Because I'm a King James baby. Like the new
Die?
the new
Which part?
translations.
Which
and
part?
stuff.
Die?
I was reading the New King
Dog.
James.
Oh, okay, you are okay. Cool.
The-
All right. That's all. That's all. I mean, I go by that because when it's other translations of the Bible, I'm very hesitant to like let myself get immersed in that.
Yeah, that's why we researched it, because there are different interpretations. So you got to know where it originated. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
all this to say, her whole point, which I think she did a great job, but we just had to figure out where the information was coming from. Do you feel like women are cursed to want to dominate their husbands? Because that's what she said.
Or cursed.
Do you feel, sitting right here today,
I don't want to
this
dominate.
feeling of dominating your
But
husband?
but here's the question though, real quick. Was it before the curse?
What do you mean?
Like before they ate?
No, it said after. That was the curse.
The curse was the penalty.
Your desire.
No, but what if her desires led them to that curse?
That's what happened.
You know what I'm saying? Like her desires led them to the curse. So was her desires cursed?
No, her desire led her to the curse because God told them both not to eat that fruit, And she said, then the devil said, you won't surely die. The devil finessed her into eating the fruit. Instead of listening to God, she listened to a talking snake. So,
and her husband didn't step in.
No, I get that part, but what?
That's what Paul even said. It was Eve who was tricked. That's what Paul said later on.
Yeah.
Adam is to blame. Now, we didn't fall until Adam ate it, but the woman, Paul said it was Eve who got
tricked. The Bible was
tricked.
mad chauvinist. Paul was like, she ate it too.
Hey, she ate that mug. You know what I'm saying? So I think her desires is what brought the curse.
But okay, so you saying, do I feel like I want to dominate my husband? That's the curse. That's what the lady's saying. I feel like you were saying, once you submit, like we were saying earlier, once I'm submitted to God and you're submitted to God, then that's not going to be a thing. But I think the people out here in the world acting a fool, and I want to be the man of the house, and I want my husband to stay home, and I wanted to. All that confusion gonna come in, and that's from the enemy. The lies of the enemy. So
you think that's from this?
Yeah.
If he's not submitted to God, are you gonna submit to him?
No.
That's my point. That's my point.
No, and stop asking us what we bring to the table.
No, but the question goes.
Period.
Was it? That's why I keep saying. Was it in her prior to that?
No, I think what the devil was pulling on is man's desire to be God and to know what God knows. Everything we talk about on the show comes back to man wanting to be God. That was the original.
But I don't think Adam and Eve wanted to be God.
That's what. Why did she eat it then?
They didn't know.
He
was the snake deceived them to think.
Yeah, I know that part, but I'm just saying, even
I don't think they wanted. I don't think they knew what that meant.
Look
like to be God. I don't think. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Look what he said to her. I'm sorry. He said, did he tell you surely die? Because when God make a statement, the devil always asks a question.
Yeah.
So he said, you won't. He said, you say that you won't surely die. He said he don't want you to eat it because he know you will be like him. Be able to see everything.
But being like him was basically know good and evil. Know the difference between
knowing everything.
Knowing
just
knowledge.
being like him. Period.
All you know about God
TikTok.
is
having TikTok.
all you know about God is he created everything. He run the show. That's what you know about God. So you thinking like he powerful. I can be powerful
That was
too.
the temptation. that's what they fell to. It wasn't because it tasted good. It was because the serpent said, "You will be like God. You will know what He knows. You're subject to Him. Why? If you eat this, you'll know what. That's why He doesn't want you to eat it.
Yeah.
That was the.
Now
temptation.
here's another question. Let's go deeper. Why God allow Satan to become a snake and go in that bad boy like that?
Well, that's a deep question, and that's been asked in the
Because
Bible.
he wanted to be loved genuinely. He put the tree there. He allowed Satan to do what he wants to do because he don't want to force you to love him. He always want to give you a choice.
Well, it's so here's the thing, and this was when I'll challenge everybody, read the whole Bible, because there's stuff that pastors don't talk about that you'll run across and it'll be like, what? Nobody told me this. It describes why we're here. The whole point of us being here is because Satan challenged God's authority, said, how can you be all the things you say you could be? Why can't I be that? Right? It's the original problem of wanting to be God, right? Wanting to have God's power. And the whole reason all this is happening is to prove that God is just, merciful, loving. All His names are true. This whole theater that we're in right now is to prove God is who He says He is. That's why all this stuff happens. So when you go back to when there are people like, what is the meaning of life? And the meaning of life is you are supposed to bring God glory. How? By proving that He is who He says He is. That's it.
Yeah.
I do have a question, because back to the dominating your husband thing. Who in the why are you laughing? Who in like the Bible stories that we have, like the people, the relationships, who was dominating their husband? Because I can only think of like Jezebel. What other examples will we have to say
That's a good question.
that curse?
Delilah. She dominated Samson.
But I feel like majority wise, we have like good representations of what a wife and a husband is supposed to be in the Bible. Yeah. But today, if we fast forward, it's kind of funny.
We have more examples of the other half of it, that your husband will dominate you. Yes. We have a lot of examples of that.
Yeah, God showed us pictures in the Bible of men most of the time who ended up, if not in the beginning, ended up being submitted to God. So we have that godly example. But like he said, now we don't have that. We have people who want to be God.
I have a question. I've always wanted to ask this question. I never really remember to ask this question, but I've always wanted to ask this question because I was in the scripture the other day and I was like, that's interesting. Was Abraham punished for sleeping with his mistress?
Punished?
What was the punishment? Because I don't ever read the punishment. It just says that God gave a blessing to Isaac and he gave a blessing to Ishmael. And Hagar didn't seem to be punished because God, the angel of the Lord, told Hagar to go back and submit to Sarah. So I'm just wondering, like, what was the punishment? Because David was punished when he had Uriah the Hittite killed and did this thing with Bathsheba, and God took that baby. But
you're seeing the punishment right now.
Yeah,
Hamas in Israel is a punishment.
Okay.
He created a son that became the enemy to God's people.
But he didn't let Abraham know that was going to be the
direct
result.
the direct
he said, I'll just
punishment.
give you my descendants will be like the nations,
Yeah.
the stars.
Yeah. But the question about that is, God blessed Ishmael.
Yeah.
So for somebody could say God is blessing Islam. He could say that.
The promise was that I will make many nations out of you.
Yeah.
They aren't the promised people, but the promise still fulfilled that they became a great nation.
Yeah.
But the punishment is now this son's descendants are fighting this son's descendants, and they're still fighting to this day.
Even on a practical level, this still your son. And
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
And you had to tell brother leave. You know what I'm saying? Because it's causing friction at the crib. It's like, you don't slept with this chick. You got a son over there. You got your baby mama and your kids over here. It's causing friction at the house. Either they gonna go or I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You got to watch your son leave.
Yeah.
The handmaid, you probably cared about her too. You got to make a tough decision. That's a punishment.
It's terrible.
But
And God tested his loyalty. You gonna sacrifice your son? Let's see what you gonna do. He had a lot of turmoil. I feel like.
Yeah.
But isn't Abraham the example of us running out of patience, right? Because Sarah was 99 when she had Isaac, and he was at the point where he was like, okay, this isn't going to happen. I got to make it happen, right? But then it was Sarah that brought Abraham to Hagar.
Yeah.
So
Following her husband.
there you go. So that's another example of she kind of dominated the situation and caused him to stumble into the situation.
And it was her idea.
Heavily
It wasn't.
suggested because he still made the choice.
No, she bullied him. If you read the scripture, she was very aggressive on it. I mean, obviously he got a choice.
Okay, because I was about to say, can
But
we
she
really
probably brought
bully
him a
somebody in
naked-
bed?
a
You made
naked young
you
woman.
made the action, bro.
He was tired of hearing it, and he went along with it. And she's here,
that's
sleep
scripture.
with her.
Like a nagging wife is like.
She was nagging that man.
Dripping false.
Now I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that's okay, but she was nagging him, and it was her
But
idea.
it was just that she wanted him to have a son, not that she had a son, right?
And this is what happens. This go back to the curse we were talking about. He was outside the will of God when he went and messed with that woman.
Yeah.
So who was in control of the situation? She told him, go get the hand. She said, go get your hand servant and have a child with her.
Yeah.
She was in the lead.
Yeah.
They were outside the will of God. That's
Yeah.
what I was
She was
go back to what I
jealous
was
She handed him an apple.
Exactly. She handed him an apple. So now
And
we
he
go
took
back
it.
to the curse again. Had he been in his rightful position as a man of God, say, nah, we're going to wait on God and trust God. We're not finna take these extra steps.
Yeah.
Then she would have submitted, say, you're right, we're going to wait on God. But since he was being a sucker, he allowed her to go ahead.
Sucker word. And for a woman back then, it was very shameful to not have no kids, especially
Yeah.
not to have a son. So she was getting older and older and older, and she was
not gonna happen.
desperate.
Felt
Yeah.
she had no value.
But you can't say that about somebody. They a sucker, bro. Because at the end of the day, every mistake, everybody has a mistake. They make a
You gotta have to
mistake.
see these people one day.
I'm like, hey, bro, you know you was a sucker in that situation.
Me and
right?
Eve gonna have to talk though. I just
I have to
ain't.
say, man, Eve got some choice words.
I'll be struggling every month.
Fighting on
So-
sight.
Cause you know, they like even when he talks about going back to her situation, childbirth would have been very easy if she didn't bite. They didn't bite that apple.
Yeah.
You talking
Yeah,
about
it would've been,
birth?
yeah.
It's not just childbirth.
Yeah.
I'll say this, right?
Not just childbirth.
You're single?
Yes.
Are you single? Okay, I don't know you're single. I think, okay, I'll say this. When you get married, you're
Said
going
it
to...
stank.
No, I said it could have changed since then.
I know you single.
Period. You was a little too confident for that.
2 weeks ago, right?
It could have
If,
changed.
No, it
if
could've
somebody
changed.
comes in, we need to meet him, right? I'm just saying.
Amen. I can arrange that.
But no, so where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so the question is like, I'm just gonna tell you, like, there are gonna be times in your marriage where your husband is going to give you your way, right? Because it feels like it might keep us out of conflict.
It's easier.
It's easier. There you go. I wasn't trying to say that. But I know my wife is not a Patreon member, so I will.
Oh, this is going out. This I'm gonna just say this. Patreon, y'all gonna have to let it. This is better than the show we just had.
No, he did not. He's right.
This is better than the show.
I want to know what you was gonna say.
It's much easier.
We're having too many audio problems now. Sanitizer, go
I
ahead.
can't say it now. My wife might hear. But no, like it's easier to just sometimes for men like. You read the room. You read the room. You get home and you read the room.
Yeah, he's basically saying that the modern day version of this.
It's like a plenty of times.
Yeah, the modern day version of this is that a lot of men will concede because they want peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be my peace. Be my peace. Be my peace. Goodness gracious.
Question though, if it really came down to a matter of like importance, like if it's a small thing like, hey, I'm not going to eat this out of the refrigerator right now because she might get mad, or something minuscule or small like that, you're gonna choose to do something that's gonna keep the house in peace. But if it came down to a real situation, a real matter of God, where God really gave you clear instruction, and your wife was like, nah, I ain't feeling that, but without a shadow of a doubt, God led you to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes even that is hard.
I was gonna get the example
hard,
of my wife,
but you're more willing to want to listen to God, because what I've heard is from people who've been married for a long time, they'll say it's plenty of times they had to make decisions where their wife and their children really weren't a fan of that because it compromised their comfort at that time. But they knew God was trying to take that family to a different place where it was going to be better in the long run. Everybody else didn't just see it. And I think that's part of the responsibility of being a leader and a forerunner. A lot of times God will have you in a position where you can see certain things that he showed you, but everybody else is not privy to that information. Are you going to let the feelings and the emotions of the people around you make you go a certain way, or are you going to trust what God told you to do?
I'll say that more applies if you see your wife leading you to something evil,
right,
then it applies to I think we should go do this thing and she says no. I think there's a lot more collaboration that has to happen in that situation. But if it's like your wife is like, I think we should, I don't know, what's something evil that a wife could get you to want to do, I don't know. But
I was gonna say something ignorant.
If she say, hey,
do something crazy in your bedroom that God doesn't.
If she say, hey, we need to leave this church. If she say, you know what, I know you like going here right now, but I feel like we need to leave this church. You're gonna take it under consideration. You're gonna hear what she has to say. You're gonna listen and say, okay, I feel where you're coming from. But ultimately, you're gonna pray. You're gonna seek God on that situation. If God is telling you to stay at that church,
or even something more obviously evil, like go cuss the pastor out because he said this and that. Or you know what I'm saying?
Pastor because he said something crazy.
Yeah, like so and so looked at me funny. Go hit him. You know, something that's evil. It's like no.
I remember being in a situation where
I'm not doing that.
So I'll say there's two examples, right? The example I was saying I didn't want to say, and I got to finish this thought now that my wife is probably gonna hear this. So like one day she was telling me, she was like, hey, can you listen out for the laundry to stop, and when the washing machine stops, can you load the dryer? And I was like, cool. And she was calling me, right? So when I heard the garage door go up and I had fallen asleep, I jumped up.
You was scared like a little kid.
And because you just don't want to hear so you just gonna fall asleep.
Yeah,
So but I'll give another example of I have a 11-year-old daughter, soon to be 8-year-old daughter, and a soon to be, and I just have a 6-year-old daughter.
Aww.
And so, at some point you start thinking like, if I become too much of a
sucker.
No, I'm saying that's gonna make me more of a sucker. Like, I mean, come on, it's for women.
Too passive.
Yeah, because there's battles that you choose to face and battles that you be like, you know what, I'm sleep better tonight.
Absolutely.
If I don't say anything about this. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I think
I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying, if God come to you and say something that's not popular in your household, are you going to choose the comfort of your family, or are you going to choose what God says? That's all I'm asking.
No, that hasn't happened yet. And I think
if it did though, because that's what we're looking at in these stories.
Yeah, because I'll say this, like, I always joke about this with my wife, but when I say something, she'll usually be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll say like, man, I was just watching this debate, da-da-da-da, and I think this is this, that, and the other, and this is that and the other. And she'll be like, yeah, I see that too.
She trusts you.
Yeah, I mean, our whole dynamic of us agreeing with each other is an easy concept.
She trusts you. Like, she trusts you as a man of God.
Yeah.
Like, you saw it, but I'm saying, like, that's...
And y'all both submitted, it sounds like.
Yeah.
That makes it easier. But when you got a guy who over here selling dope, shooting dice, and then you come over here and he like, hey, we need to do this for the household. She looking like... I don't know if God telling us to do that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Wow, this turned out great. Patreon, thank you guys so much. Before I get in trouble. Get up out of here.
This turns into a marriage. Yeah.
No, but thank you guys. We got some new people signed up today too. So Patreon is growing. We'll do some more stuff like this where you get early access to videos. I think people need to see this one, so I may put this one out. But we'll do more bonuses just for you guys. There's moments that like when the assassination attempt almost happened, we were going to jump on and do a show real quick. So we'll do more of those as we go forward for you guys. But thank you guys for supporting us. We got a lot more coming. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it. You in the field with the Trackstarz. Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah.